So before we start, this video is specifically for learning and entertainment purposes. While this video provides a light version, blueprint for sound, it is important to remember to always be yourself and learn from the greats and develop a sound that suits best for you. But with that being said, here's today's video. Pluggnb is a genre that uses R&B melodies mixed with elements from the subgenre categorized as plug or plug music that contains minimalistic drums and hi-hat patterns alongside piano samples, airy pads, and icy synths. A few artists who've pioneered this sound of music are names such as Sofaygo, Summrs, and Autumn. The biggest difference between plug and pluggnb is its high-pitched autotune and melodic beats that create a more experimental sound, as well as its different lyrical content, usually speaking about drugs, love, and compassion. So I'm going to be playing the vocals without any effects or any plugins just to show you what we're working with.
I'm popping the pills in the morning. Try to run it like Bill, where you going? I'm running around with that bitch in the foreign. Can't fuck with no bitch, she boring. From city to city, I'm touring. My eyes like rain, I'm pouring. So high in the air, I'm flowing.
So that's the vocal without any effects or any plugins. Now we're just going to get straight into the vocal chain. I'm going to be using 100% all Logic stock plugins, so all these plugins that I'm using should be available for you to use as well. Starting off with the first plugin and the most important plugin. Turning this knob down makes the response time faster, which will make your vocals sound more robotic, and if you want your autotune less strong, you just pull it up. It's going to be different for everybody, but for this specific song, it happens to be E major scale.
I'm popping the pills in the morning. Try to run it like Bill, where you going? I'm running around with that bitch in the foreign.
So for the next plugin that we definitely should have on our vocal chain is an EQ.
I'm running around with that bitch in the foreign. I'm popping the pills in the morning. Try to run it like Bill, where you going? I'm popping the pills in the morning. I'm running around with that bitch in the foreign.
So what we're doing with this EQ is we're taking out some low end here. For these two, we were turning down some bad or unwanted frequencies. For this, we were controlling the frequency and turning it down to -1.6 dB to make it have a more thin sound. And then for this, we were just raising the frequencies just a little bit to have a little bit of high end to make the vocals spark a little bit more. But that's basically it for the first EQ.
I'm popping the pills in the morning. Try to run it like Bill, where you going? I'm running around with that bitch in the foreign.
So for the next plugin that we're going to be using, it's called a de-esser or de-esser 2 in Logic. So for the settings on the de-esser 2, there is a high pass and there's a band pass. I usually have mine at high pass. And for the range, there's wide, but I usually keep mine at split.
I'm popping the pills in the morning. Try to run it like Bill, where you going? I'm running around with that bitch in the foreign.
So the de-esser didn't really do too much to the vocal there because the vocal didn't really have that much high frequencies or harsh frequencies. But if you are recording and there is a lot of high end or harsh frequencies, it would be highly recommended to use a de-esser for sure. So for the next plugin that we're going to have, it's going to be a compressor.
I'm popping the pills in the morning. Try to run it around with that bitch in the foreign.
So for this compressor, what we did was set the threshold at -34, the ratio at 351, the attack speed at 110, and the release at 330. When you open the compressor, it automatically sets you at -12 dB for the auto gain, but I usually turn it off. And I up the gain around 4 because the overall vocal was just kind of quiet in my opinion.
I'm popping the pills in the morning. Try to run it like Bill, where you going? I'm running around with that bitch in the foreign.
Another plugin that's really helpful and super useful to get a more smooth sound for pluggnb, and this is just personal preference, is some reverb. In my opinion, Silververb is the easiest reverb plugin in Logic, so we're just going to use this to make it simple for us.
I'm popping the pills in the morning. Try to run it like Bill, where you going? I'm running around with that bitch in the foreign.
And for the last plugin that we're going to use, we're going to add the chorus plugin. So what the chorus plugin does is it makes everything stereo and more spread out.
I'm popping the pills in the morning. Try to run it like Bill, where you going? I'm running around with that bitch in the foreign. Can't fuck with no bitch, she boring. From city to city, I'm touring. My eyes like rain, I'm pouring. So high in the air, I'm flowing. Pop out, I get the sticks and the Glock out. Chop on me like World War III. If you give me a Mac, I'ma fall out. You know me, I'ma ball out. Raps on me, I'm tall now. Talking that shit, better pop